In the grand tapestry of Japanese history, few figures capture the imagination as vividly as the samurai and the ninja. They represent two distinct, almost mythical, archetypes of the Japanese warrior tradition. The samurai were the noble, armored warriors, bound by a strict code of honor. In contrast, the ninja were the covert agents of espionage and assassination, masters of stealth and deception. To understand these legendary figures, one must delve deep into the annals of feudal Japan. The origins of the samurai can be traced back to the Heian period, beginning in 794. These early warriors were essentially provincial fighters hired by the imperial court to quell rebellions. They were protectors of the nobility's vast estates, known as shun. Over time, these warrior clans grew in power and influence, eclipsing the central authority of the emperor. The term samurai itself means one who serves, reflecting their initial role as servants to the aristocracy. The establishment of the Kamakura shogunate in 1185 marked a pivotal moment. This event signified the beginning of nearly 700 years of samurai rule over Japan. The samurai class was now the de facto ruling power of the nation. Central to the samurai identity was the code of Bushido, the way of the warrior. Bushido was not a written law, but an unwritten code of conduct that evolved over centuries. It emphasized virtues such as loyalty, honor, discipline, and martial prowess. A samurai's loyalty to his lord, or daimyo, was absolute and unwavering. Honor was paramount, and a samurai would rather die than face dishonor. The katana, the iconic curved sword, was the soul of the samurai. These warriors were expected to fight openly and honorably, often in large-scale battles. Their combat was a ritualized affair, with duels between champions being a common feature. Now, let us turn to the shadows, where the ninja, or shinobi, operated. The term shinobi translates to one who steals away, or one who endures. Ninja were active primarily during the Sengoku period, the age of warring states from the 15th to 17th centuries. This era of constant political turmoil and warfare created a high demand for their unique skills. Unlike the samurai, who were members of the aristocracy, most ninja came from the lower classes of society. They were often seen as mercenaries, hired by powerful warlords for covert missions. Their primary functions were espionage, sabotage, infiltration, and assassination. Goal of the ninja was to achieve the mission's objective by any means necessary. They did not adhere to the samurai's code of Bushido. Their philosophy, known as ninjutsu, prioritized deception, psychological manipulation, and evasion. Ninja were masters of disguise, often posing as farmers, monks, or merchants to gather intelligence. The iconic all-black shinobi shozoko is largely a creation of theater and popular culture. In reality, they wore the clothing of the people they were impersonating to blend in seamlessly. Their arsenal was diverse and practical, including tools like shuriken, smoke bombs, and climbing claws. Many of their weapons were adapted from everyday farming tools. The fundamental difference between the two groups lay in their social status and methods. Samurai fought for honor and glory on the battlefield. Ninja worked for victory and survival in the shadows. Despite popular depictions of them as mortal enemies, their relationship was more complex. Samurai lords were, in fact, the primary employers of ninja, clans Dekcho. A daimyo would use his samurai for open warfare and his ninja for covert operations. It was a pragmatic application of different tools for different tasks. Some historical evidence even suggests that some ninja were actually low-ranking samurai. These samurai, from remote regions like Iga and Koga, adopted ninjutsu as a means of survival. Their unconventional tactics were born out of necessity in a time of constant conflict. In a direct, head-to-head confrontation, a samurai would likely have the upper hand. The samurai's superior armor, weaponry, and extensive combat training were decisive advantages. However, the ninja's strength was in avoiding such direct confrontations altogether. They excelled in ambushes, psychological warfare, and using the environment to their advantage. The famous clans of Iga and Koga were particularly renowned for their highly skilled ninja. These clans developed and passed down their secret arts, or ninjutsu, through generations. The unification of Japan under Tokugawa Ieyasu in the early 17th century brought an end to the Sengoku period. This ushered in the Edo period, a long era of relative peace and stability. The samurai. This newfound peace brought a crisis of identity. With no wars to fight, many samurai transitioned into roles as bureaucrats, scholars, and administrators. The warrior class slowly transformed into a scholarly, administrative aristocracy. The demand for ninja also plummeted during this peaceful era. Their skills in espionage and sabotage were no longer in high demand. Some ninja clans were absorbed into the shogunate's security and intelligence apparatus. The final blow to the samurai class came with the Meiji Restoration in 1868. New government, seeking to modernize Japan, abolished the feudal class system. The right to wear swords in public, the ultimate symbol of samurai status, was revoked. The age of the samurai had officially come to an end. The ninja, already a relic of a bygone era, faded completely into legend and folklore. In conclusion, the samurai and the ninja were two sides of the same coin of Japanese warfare. One operated in the light of honor, the other in the darkness of necessity. They were not always enemies, but rather different instruments used by the same masters. Their stories, though often romanticized, reflect the complex and often brutal reality of feudal Japan. The legacy of both the honorable samurai and the mysterious ninja continues to fascinate the world. Their tales are a testament to a time of great conflict, honor, and intrigue. The samurai's path was one of open confrontation and martial pride. He announced his name and lineage before engaging an opponent of worthy rank. His armor was not just for protection, but also a vibrant display of his clan's identity. The battlefield was his stage, and his actions were a performance of his honor. In contrast, the ninja's greatest victory was one that was never known. He moved without a name, a ghost in the service of his employer. His tools were chosen for silence and efficiency, not for show. The night was his domain, and anonymity was his greatest weapon. Samurai training began in early childhood, instilling discipline from a young age. They learned not only the art of the sword, but also archery and horsemanship. Literacy and poetry were also part of a high-ranking samurai's education. This created a warrior who was both a fighter and a scholar. Ninjutsu training was equally rigorous, but shrouded in secrecy. They learned pharmacology, explosives, and the art of disguise. Survival skills were essential, teaching them to live off the land for extended periods. This created an operative who was a spy, a saboteur, and a survivalist. The samurai's life was dictated by the seasons of war and peace. In war, he was a lion on the battlefield. In peace, he was a guardian of the social order. The ninja's life was a constant state of undeclared war. His missions were surgical strikes in a larger conflict. He had no seasons of peace, only active missions and periods of waiting. A samurai's death in battle was the highest honor. Seppuku, or ritual suicide, was a way to restore honor lost through failure or disgrace. A ninja's death was a failure, as it meant the mission was compromised. They were expected to self-destruct or disappear without a trace to protect their secrets. The samurai sought a glorious legacy that would be told for generations. The ninja sought complete anonymity, a legacy of events with no known author. The samurai's weapon of choice, the katana, was a work of art. Ninja's preferred weapon was often information itself. Samurai armor was a complex assembly of lacquered plates, silk, and leather. Ninja clothing was simple, dark, and designed not to snag or make noise. The samurai's horse was a vital partner in battle and a status symbol. The ninja's greatest ally was the environment itself. The samurai's code demanded he protect the innocent. The ninja's mission might sometimes require him to impersonate and deceive the innocent. The samurai's world was one of rigid hierarchy and social order. Ninja's world was one of fluid identity and social disruption. A samurai's face was a symbol of his family's honor. A ninja's face was never to be remembered. The samurai fought in formations on open ground. The ninja fought alone or in small cells in confined spaces. The samurai's loyalty was to a person, his lord, but the ninja's loyalty was to a contract, his mission. The samurai's story is one of political power and its eventual decline. Ninja's story is one of practical skills becoming obsolete. The samurai left behind castles, art, and a written code of ethics. The ninja left behind legends, secret techniques, and whispers in history. The samurai represented the visible structure of power. The ninja represented the unseen forces that could undermine it. The samurai was the shield and sword of the ruling class. The ninja was the dagger and poison in the political arena. Samurai's ideal was a beautiful, honorable death, like a cherry blossom falling at its peak. The ninja's ideal was to live to fight another day, to disappear and return when needed. The samurai's tale is written in the Grand Chronicles of Japan. The ninja's tale is pieced together from local legends and secret manuals. The samurai was a figure of the day, his armor shining in the sun. The ninja was a creature of the night, his form hidden by the moonless sky. The samurai's fear was dishonor. The ninja's fear was discovery. The samurai's strength came from his training and his unwavering spirit. Ninja's strength came from his adaptability and his knowledge of human weakness. The samurai was a pillar of the feudal system. The ninja was a crack in that same system's foundation. Ultimately, both were products of a violent and tumultuous age. Their legends endure, a powerful mix of historical fact and creative fiction. The samurai's story is a tragedy of a class that outlived its purpose. The ninja's story is a mystery of a profession that was never meant to be known. One is a story of bright, burning glory. The other, a tale of silent, deep shadows. Together, they form the dual soul of Japan's legendary warrior history.